The virtual classroom at IU Kokomo. More than an online class. Kristen Snoddy, senior lecturer in English, is speaking as a text box pops up that reads, "Here's a sneak peek at what a virtual classroom looks like at Indiana University Kokomo."
Pre-recorded material. What I would like you to do is to vote a yes or a no. I'm going to give you a question. What I'm going to ask you is going to inform me about how much you're aware of some material that I'm going to present. Do you know what HeLa cells are? HeLa. HeLa cells. If you know what those are, I know that I am an English teacher, but that's one of the joys of teaching English is it crosses many disciplines. So you can select yes or no if you know what HeLa cells are. So if you could go ahead.
A sliding transition with the IU Kokomo logo appears on the screen, followed by music and more text reading, "Our classrooms are interactive. Most of our classes will meet in person, with social distancing, at least half of the time. More than 200 of our classes will meet in person all the time." A sliding transition with the IU Kokomo logo appears on the screen, and we have a scene change. Deborah Jaworski, lecturer in mathematics, is speaking as the screen is split, displaying a shared screen with Amazon stock information and a smaller screen showing the faces of other viewers from the class.
Amazon. I don't know if you're making any Amazon purchases, but I've been supporting their company quite a bit recently.
Amazon is not my favorite.
Okay, it's not your favorite. Fine. We just wish we bought the stocks back in the day.
Right.
Because we love our local small businesses, but also I needed a filter for my fridge, so Amazon. So you can see here previous close, opening, bidding, and this is the one-day graph. Again, it kind of spiked at the end of the day. And let's look at a longer-term graph for Amazon. This is 1 year, so this starts in May 2019 to May 2020. So you can see, if you purchased in May 2019, you'd be probably pretty happy with yourself on those earnings here at the end of the graph, because that did
A
jump.
sliding transition with the IU Kokomo logo appears on the screen, followed by music and more text reading, "Remote Zoom sessions will feature live interactions like the ones you see here. Ask questions, participate in polls, discuss class material with your professors and classmates." A sliding transition with the IU Kokomo logo appears on the screen, and we have a scene change. Sarah Heath, Associate Professor of History, begins speaking, and she is sharing her screen with World War II imagery.
Are not very familiar with World War II. Keep in mind that for people who lived in Europe and in Asia, the war began around 1930. So Japan and Italy and Germany were all engaged in terrible atrocities against civilians. They expanded, they took over territories. The United States was neutral during that whole time. So Americans were really preoccupied with the Great Depression and trying to solve the financial difficulties that went along with that. And they felt that entering the war could present almost an economic disaster. Okay, now that all changed in 1941. December 7th, 1941 was the date on which the Japanese carried out a massive attack at the naval installation in Pearl Harbor. So this really was, I mean, it was totally unexpected. Americans up until this point had assumed that the two big oceans would help to protect the nation. They did not think that Japan could pull off a massive attack like this. But as the color image shows, and even black and white images, right? It was just shocking, the level of loss. Over 2,400
A
Americans.
sliding transition with the IU Kokomo logo appears on the screen, followed by music and more text reading, "If you have a need or concern about in-person learning, be sure to let our faculty know so we can help." A sliding transition with the IU Kokomo logo appears on the screen, and we have a scene change. Heather Kennedy Eden, an assistant professor of hospitality and tourism, begins speaking.
I worked for American Airlines for a while, and we had great travel benefits. And I worked so much that I hardly got to use them a lot of the time because we were always working so much. So sometimes you have those issues too, where you just, when you're not in class, you have to work. So, so there's a lot of things that will determine, you know, where we fall on that scale. And usually once you travel some, you tend to move up the scale. You tend to get a little more adventuresome because your eyes are open to new things and you realize, hey, this was kind of fun. And then you want to do it some more. So a lot of times people may start at one number, but then they'll progress throughout their life. So, so let's talk about why people travel. I'm gonna share my screen with you again. Okay, can you see this travel motivation slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so these are the reasons that people travel. One could be escape, and so that just means that you want to do something that's different than your normal everyday life. You want to escape from your normal life and go do something
A
that's
sliding transition with the IU Kokomo logo appears on the screen, followed by music and more text reading. Still have questions? Contact the Office of Student Success and Advising at 765-455-9405 to set up a Zoom appointment. A sliding transition with the IU Kokomo logo appears on the screen, and we have an exit scene change as the Indiana University Kokomo 75th logo is displayed with the text IU Kokomo 1945 through 2020, honoring the IU bicentennial. iuk.edu.